If I told you there was a new longevity drug on the market and the trials showed it could supercharge your immune system, fix your deep sleep, lower your stress hormones, and literally energize your white blood cells to hunt down viruses faster, you'd probably ask me two things. How much is it? And is it legal? Sometimes we focus on the gear, spend our money on bikes, power meters, and trainers. And I'm guilty of treating fitness like a math problem. Watts per kilo, heart rate zones, calories burned. And for fitness, that works. But for health, for longevity, the math is incomplete. I've been digging into the research on human physiology, and it turns out we may be overlooking something very fundamental. We treat the outdoors like it's a pretty place, nice backdrop for a ride. But today I want to show you that the environment is actually an active ingredient. This isn't just about fresh air. It's about how light, air, and the biology of our bodies work together. This is the invisible medicine of outdoor cycling. I haven't always had access to such a beautiful area to ride. Like most of us, before I retired my job at 35 years, I lived where the work was. For me, this meant business parks, shopping centers, lots of residential neighborhoods, and all the traffic and infrastructure that goes with it. Riding outside always involved getting through town and sharing the road with a lot of vehicles. To understand this, let's look at the human body through an engineering lens. We aren't a closed loop. You can't just put fuel in the tank, run the engine in a sealed garage, and expect it to last 100 years. We're an open system. What I mean by an open system is to keep our machine body running smoothly, we need to integrate with our external environment. The problem is what researchers call the mismatch. Our bodies were designed over millions of years to accept certain inputs, specific kinds of light, seasonal air, and the visual passing by of things as we exert effort. When we ride indoors in a controlled environment, under LED lights and still air, we're operating outside the environment our body is expecting. This is called system drag. It's an unexpected, maybe undetectable stress on the body that can cause extra wear and tear. Today, I'm going to break down 3 specific inputs you can get on an outdoor ride that you simply cannot get indoors, no matter how good your fan is or how realistic your trainer graphics look. I know, sometimes you have no choice but to be indoors, but making the effort to get outside is very important, as you'll see. When we spend 90% of our time indoors, we dress the part to feel comfortable. When we're outside, we need to sync up with that environment. That idea of syncing up with the environment is actually why I'm wearing the watercolor sunset jersey from Joyoneer on many of my rides. A lot of my cycling gear is designed to look sporty, but Joyoneer designed this pattern to mimic the natural light gradients we see at dusk and dawn. It's a small detail, but when I'm outside trying to lower my stress levels, it's nice to have gear that feels like part of the ecosystem. Plus, the fabric is engineered for exercise and exposure, which is perfect for what I'm about to share. I've linked their collection below. Now, let's look at the first major input you're missing indoors: light. Input number 1 is light. Light helps you see what you're doing, sure, but it's also sending a signal to your brain, letting it know what's going on and how to prepare. Most of us underestimate how dim our lives are. Our office or gym might measure about 500 lux of brightness. A cloudy day outside, that's 10,000 lux. Direct sun, over 100,000 lux. The difference just isn't double, it's exponential. Why does this matter? Because deep inside your brain, you have a master clock. It relies on sensors in your eyes to know what time it is. And these sensors are stubborn. They need a massive blast of blue spectrum light, the kind you only get outside, to trigger that signal that says, start the day. If you don't get that signal, your internal rhythm drifts. You get a type of jet lag, if you will. Your cortisol stays high when it should be low. And later, your melatonin, the sleep hormone, doesn't release properly to help you get sleep at night. Alternatively, when you do your morning ride outdoors, you're flooding those sensors with 50,000 lux. You're mechanically anchoring your body clock. The result, your melatonin level drops and sets a timer for about 14 hours to rise again to help you get better sleep that night. For the older athlete, where deep sleep is often the first thing to suffer, this morning light exposure is one of the most powerful sleep aids you can use. Input number 2 is something I had not really understood until I began researching this. We all know about getting vitamin D from the sun. That news has been out forever. But let's talk about the blue light we get from the sun and its effect on your immune system. A recent groundbreaking study from Georgetown University found something really interesting. They looked at T cells. These are the white blood cells that hunt down infections. They found that when these cells are exposed to sunlight, they actually move faster. The light penetrates your skin, reaches the T cells in your blood vessels, and triggers them to produce a specific fuel that makes them move. It's like giving your immune system a shot of espresso. It makes them better hunters. And here's the critical part. This has nothing to do with vitamin D. You can take all the vitamin D supplements you want, but you won't get this specific boost. You need the actual solar radiation on your skin. So that Jersey tan line, think of it as a sign that your immune system is being kicked into high gear. Input number 3 is the air itself. We usually only worry about pollution, but we don't think about what we want to inhale. Turns out trees and plants breathe out invisible oils called phytoncides. They use them to fight off bugs. But when we breathe them in, they act as a mild stressor that toughens us up. There's a term that originated in Japan in the 1980s that translates to forest bathing. It was used to describe an initiative the Japanese had to help its population reduce stress by encouraging them to visit the forest more often. Now, at the time, their purpose was twofold. They did want to help people reduce stress, but they also wanted their support in preserving the Japanese woodlands. Well, it turns out that forest bathing works. Research on forest bathing shows that inhaling these phytoncides boosts your natural killer cells. These are the soldiers of your immune system. One good long ride in the woods can help these levels stay high for up to 7 days. And it goes deeper than that. Indoor environments are sterile. Outdoor environments are full of life. When you ride outside, you're inhaling trace amounts of environmental microbes. More recent studies show that this helps rewild your gut, giving it more resilience. For us older cyclists, gut diversity is key to longevity. It lowers inflammation and helps us absorb nutrients. You are literally inoculating yourself with the environment. Now, some of you may be thinking that your outdoor areas aren't full of life. It's full of pollutants. That may well be, but in my third video of this series, I'll talk about why it's still worth it to be outdoors. So subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that. So how do we put this into practice? I'm not saying sell your trainer. Trainer's a great tool for fitness. I use mine several times a week during the winter season, and it's truly a lifesaver for me. But the outdoors is a tool for health that we just can't skip out on. Here's what I suggest for you to make sure you get that invisible medicine ride. First, try to get at least one ride a week done outside in the early morning, within an hour of sunrise. This sets your sleep clock for the next few days. If it can't be a ride, for me, right now it's not a ride, do a walk. Personally, I added a half-hour walk first thing every morning. The cooler the better for me. It wakes me up. Second, don't be afraid of a little skin exposure. Obviously, you don't want to get burned, but remember, those T cells need the light to hit your skin. If it's warm enough, ditch the arm warmers or long sleeves for 20 minutes and soak up that sun. Third, pick your route. If you have a choice between a direct route through the city or a slightly longer route that's near trees, go after those trees. Those extra miles, a little forest bath, makes that time well spent. Do you have a routine that fits with where you live and checks all the boxes I've discussed here? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear it, and it might help others who are watching this. We are all engineers of our own biological machine. And sometimes the best solution is to simply put that machine back in the environment it was built for. But I know what you're thinking. That's great, but riding inside could be so much more efficient and convenient. But think about this. You ever feel that when you ride outside, it feels easier? For me, when I ride inside, putting out 200 watts feels like I'm doing 300 watts. Why is that? Why does the trainer feel so much harder mentally? Turns out your eyes are playing a trick on your brain, and that trick might be the key to managing anxiety.